Okay, so you know those artists, entertainers that and actors that can play different characters, reinvent themselves, and play different characters are the best, right? But who like really doesn't have to reinvent himself is the corporation, because I'll be honest, like Budweiser should get a pass. They're not nearly as bad as Target. And even Skittles is worse than Budweiser. And even though they're doing something as benign as extending the rainbow to LGBTQ storytellers, that's pretty benign. You can't really say that there's anything wrong with that. But why are they talking about it now? That's because they're floating the hope of something of an agenda outside of the interest of a corporation, which should be making money, and they're putting all this emphasis on something like getting people in the mode of accepting this drag queen story hour shit. Now, there's already been gay proletariat writers from every country. There's already been a forum for people who like particularly LGBTQ writers. There's already, we don't need to act like we never acknowledge or that we never heard. It's like we don't even think it's possible for them to actually do the writing. So it's just because of this reason that this drag queen story hour, that the LGBT community is being, they are being taken advantage of in a worse way, because it's making everybody sick of the fact that in every single one of these little companies is going to act like they just reinvented the wheel every time that they come out and says, guess what, everybody, we're this, you know what I mean, guess what, everybody, we're Skittles. It was like, wait, that's not new. And it's not new, and it's stigmatizing. In a way, it's reverse psychology. It's like you're getting the idea that they need to play with a handicap. They need to bowl with the bumper lane. They can't, one thing or another, each time that they're talking about your group, you don't know how to use the technology. You can't vote. You can't do taxes. You can't in this, and they need us to set Orwellian fucking policies in action so that we can protect people who don't know how to fill out a voter card and some shit like that. You should have a license to vote in the first place. That's some stake in the game. That's why crypto is better as a form of governance and currency altogether, because it's non-elected delegates legitimize, authenticate, validating, transacting, hosting transactions and shit. It's just how governance is expressed. It gives it voting power, currency, governance. It's all the same thing. Your vote is your vote. And my friend I don't know if he came up with that, but it goes along with that. A volt is one volt. It's an energy symbol thing. It's like goes into the I Ching and the Jed pillar, and you get a energy symbol for the electronic field where you divide the male and female aspect of it. It's just lines. It's just a couple of simple unbroken lines, and from there you get the word vote, because your volt is there's 4 volts, or 4 is one rung. 4 volts, one rung of a Djed pillar, and it's a charge, and a charge is a volt, which you get the word vote. And that's why it's the Oval Office, because the Oval Office is like one of those, is a current. It's like a cherry, or a current, like the berry, the juice, the current of the current. It's the Oval Office. It's a catalyst for conductivity and an electric field. and a Pythagorean matrice in the agenda of the Greco-Roman architecture in Washington, D.C. is like a lockwork matrice that is ignition, and it's like there's a static charge, and they also have you know what that pentagram is actually, the Baphomet is actually the Lion King catalyst, holding up the catalyst. So in some West Nile Valley hieroglyphs, there's arms coming out of that star, and they're holding up the direct current, which is a zigzag, and it's a little zigzag. It's holding it up, like that's the juice of the current. Like the water has an electric body, and it's a dielectric bubble, and it's everything at the fucking bank of the river bank, liquidity, the currency. It's like all synonymous. Economy is volume and mass dispensation at the 357 Fibonacci retracement. So allow every drop of water to run off of the lotus, the lily pad, so that it can be suspended above the line of liquidity, and also provide support against resistance from the dancing ibis crashing down to test for resistivity, to test the 357 Fibonacci retracement. It's because if that doesn't happen, then that lily won't be able to lock out any moisture, and it won't have any residual buoyancy. It won't have any buoyancy, so it'll just become submerged assets. That ISIS shit that Obama would be talking about is actually Ibis Moon Sisters. ISIS Moon Sisters Ibis dancing on a solar boat, on the solar boat, which is the plane of the lesser gods and deities, but it is the history of economics and agorism. And that, to Taliban, ISIS has to go and blow up any evidence of ISIS. And fucking Obama said ISIL ISIS. Like ISIS, Ibis, Moon Sisters. No, ISIS Moon Sisters, Ibis. On the solar boat of the Abosom. The Abosom is like the abode of lesser gods and deities, practicing economism and fucking agorism. I don't know why they need to blow that up. I thought that they were blowing up shit, I thought that they were blowing up like the Black Madonna, or evidence of like a unconverted is like stuff that's Islamic that they don't recognize as Islamic because it's also tied in closely with Buddhism. You don't know this hybrid. It's not a hybrid. It's preliminary. This is prior to the Islamic that there is today. It was like there was still the divine feminine principle, because you know Allah begot Al and El, and you know El and Al means elder jaw, something like that. But Al means elder, right? And you get Allah and you get a law, and there's already a lot. Her symbol is emblematic of busting at the seams. She's like struggling to hold her voluptuous in. She's trying to hold it in her feminine voluptuousness, and it's like busting out a lot. Right, that's a lot of women basically. So it's like you see how it's like goes into like you get words and shit from this we didn't even have. Now you can talk. Right? You didn't have a word for a lot. It came directly from the Sumerian. It came directly from Sumeria. It's weird that to go and invade Iraq and run for the museum and fucking underground and don't know what they're doing, looking for. And then they go in Afghanistan and they're blowing up ISIS. And then Obama has to call them ISIL ISIS because he didn't disclose enough about what it is for us to put it together.